Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope your week has been treating you well so far. We've got a new day, which means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. A little bit of a new style, a new vibe, a new look, a new format that I'm really excited to share with you guys. But real quick, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you are new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be lucky to have you as a part of the Guy Boston sports community. Between myself and Ev, we have a ton of great content here on the channel. And with baseball season coming up, all kinds of stuff coming up, tons of more content will be coming to you guys besides just our regular NBA stuff. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment down below. You know how it works, all that good stuff. If you watched Friday's video, you will know that I threw out the idea of a little bit of a format change. If this is your first time here, I typically do a daily NBA player prop parlay video, and I've been doing that since the start of the NBA season to a lot of success. We grew from videos that would only get a couple hundred viewers to, I think our highest viewed video was close to 10K. So we've grown the video series quite a bit. We're not really where Ev is at. He's still the king of this thing. But, we are getting there, and the show has grown quite a bit, and I'm very happy with that. But I did throw out the idea of a little bit of a format change because I do read every single comment that you guys post, negative and positive, and I take that all that criticism, and I take all that feedback, positive or negative, and I think about it. And what I was seeing was a lot of things that made me feel like a format change was in order. Gonna try to go through this as fast as I can. I know we have a lot of props to get to today, but just to kind of explain what the new format is, why I did this. I love the parlay game. I love doing the parlay videos. And if you guys love the parlays, just stick around because they're not really going anywhere technically. Basically, what I threw out was the idea of, hey, what if we just switched instead of just a parlay show into just a regular daily player prop show? Now, what the difference is between a daily prop show and a parlay show, not too much. It's just really how I pick the props, right? When we're picking for parlays, we take more alternate lines. We take some higher odds, safer odds, because obviously it's hard enough to hit one bet, but to hit 3 or 4 or 5, it's kind of difficult. So you change the way you look at things. But what was happening, I could see in the comments constantly was, most of the alternate lines were DraftKings exclusives. People were not really pleased with that because some people don't use DraftKings or it's not available in their state. The higher odds, sometimes you can't find them or they disappear very quickly. And also I noticed a lot of people just didn't bet the parlay straight, which is perfectly fine. I always tell you guys, it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Take what you like and bet with it. But obviously, when we're rolling with higher odds and alternate lines, it's a little bit tougher to find them and take them and put them in your own. So what we're doing from this point forward is the first segment of the show will be a daily player prop show. I am just picking player props that you guys can do what you want with them. Now, these will not be as high. Now, some alternate lines will be included here, but not like they typically are. If you watch my videos, you see some odds of minus 200 plus. In this segment, you'll never see a prop go minus 200 or higher. The highest maybe is like minus 150, maybe a little bit higher if it's a prop that I really love. And I'm like, hey, guys, I know this is a little bit higher odds, but you got to bet this, right? You do with what you want with them. You can bet them straight. You can bet them in the parlay. Obviously, the way I'm going to pick the props will be a little bit different because obviously we're not picking to be safe. We're going to take a little bit more risk with some of these, but it's more inclusive. These props will be available on multiple sports books. The odds and the lines will be more in tune with other sports book and stuff like that. They shouldn't fluctuate as aggressively. So yeah, the first segment of the show will just be a daily player prop. I'm going to give you 4 or 5 props a day that I really like. Same style and vibe if you watch my videos where we're going to go through Outlier and pick the props and give you the data and all that good stuff. That's the first segment. But I also saw in the comments on Friday's video that you guys do love the parlays. I love the parlays. I don't want to get rid of them. So we're doing both, right? I thought about doing 2 separate videos, but there's going to be some spillover because probably some props that I use in the prop segment will probably spill over into the parlay segment. So we're doing both. The videos will basically be longer. This video will obviously be a little bit longer because I'm taking already 4 minutes to explain myself. But the videos will be longer is essentially what this change is going to be. The first segment will be a daily player prop show where I'm just giving you guys daily player props, simple odds. You can go ahead and straight bet them, parlay them, whatever you want to do with them. The second segment of the show will be our player prop parlay. Now, I'm not going to spend as much time as I typically do on the parlays because, again, some of the legs will probably be props that I already gave you in the first segment of the show. So that we will end every show with a player prop parlay. So it's the best of both worlds, in my opinion, for the people who love the parlays, which I love parlays because I think it's a great way for amateur sports bettors to get involved. If you don't have a ton of money, which no judgment at all, it's an easy way for people who maybe don't have massive units, right? You either be $5 units or $1,000 units. You can enjoy parlays just the same. So you guys will see, of course, as we go through the video, that it's really not too different. The look is a little bit different. I changed up some of the graphics and stuff like that. Finally changed the thumbnail a little bit. But, you know, I just felt like this was, a lot of people were saying this too, like, why not both? And I think this is the best of both worlds. You get the parlay, you get the props, all that good stuff. So I've wasted enough time here, guys. We got a lot to get to. We got our daily player props, and we got our player prop parlay. Really excited to dive in. Let's get started. All right, guys, so here we go. First player prop that I really like for today's slate of games. Again, reminder, this is not a parlay. I will change my main screen. You'll see a different graphic pop up when it's parlay time. But this is our first prop that I really like for today. We're targeting the Pacers-Thunder game, which kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder over 32.5 points. Kick this over to the Outlier screen, guys. You don't know what Outlier is. They are the best sports betting tool on the market. Link in the description below. 7-day free trial to try it out for yourself. Thank you to Outlier for sponsoring today's video. All right, move my screen over for you guys. So you see here, right here. Now, it is I just said I'm not going to do all DraftKings exclusive. This prop is a DraftKings exclusive at this line. Over 32.5 points, minus 135. If you go up a little bit higher to 33.5, it's minus 105, and it's more inclusive. You see it's basically everywhere. 33.5, I would bet it up to 33.5. I would not go too much farther, but I'm taking it to 32.5. I think it's a pretty good value line. Minus 135, it's a little higher, but not too bad. At first glance, the data is not great, right? 4 of his last 10 games. And guys, if you watch my videos, you know the data is very important to me. When you go lower in the odds, the data is not going to be as green as they typically are when you do the alternate lines. So, last 20 games, 7 of his last 20. But you see, he's always right there. He's always teetering on that line, 30, 31. Obviously, you know, if we were to do a parlay here, we would probably go with a higher alternate. On the 2023 season as a whole, a 43% hit rate, 27 out of 63 games. So, Tasso, why do you even like this odd? You look at the head-to-head data here. He has not played against Indiana this year, but the last time they played on March 31st of last year, he did have 39 points. So, Tasso, the data's not strong here, so why do you like this spot? Well, it's very simple. Look at the right side of the screen here, and the Indiana Pacers are the second worst defensive team in the NBA, giving up 121 points per game. This matchup between the Thunder and the Pacers is the highest total. One of the highest totals of today's slate. The line is currently set at over 240, which is the highest point total of the night. So there's going to be a ton of points. These teams have both very quick pace of play, and the Pacers, listen, versus guards. Now, versus point guards, it says right here, they're actually middle of the road. It's really not that good. Versus shooting guards, they're one of the worst teams. Guards typically go off, especially the high volume, all these high usage guards like Shai. They have massive games versus the Pacers. You just go ahead and look through all the past few games when they play elite guards. Guards go off. I mean, D'Angelo Russell, I don't know why the hell I just said D'Angelo Russell. That was the biggest slip of the tongue. Luka Doncic, I don't know why I had him on the mind. Luka Doncic just torched this team of late. You go through their game logs. I mean, the guards typically go off crazy against the Pacers with the highest point total, fast pace of play, Shai just being the superstar that he is. I know this data doesn't look fantastic because of this line, but again, I mean, the points, he's always in the ballpark of that 33-point line. You see here, I mean, look at 31, 30, 30, 36, 31, 31, 35, 37, 37. Like, he typically scores in the vicinity. This is a really bad defensive team, a really great matchup. I love this prop. The second prop I want to share with you guys today is this one in the Bucks-Kings game. Kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings over 27.5 points. Again, kind of a similar reason why I like this one compared to the Shai one is the matchup. Again, minus 135. Once again, literally the same odds as the Shai prop here. And it's just a great defensive matchup. Overall, the Bucks are getting better defensively, but the one position that continues to torch them is the point guard position. Still, on the year, bottom 6 in the NBA, giving up 25 points per game to opposing point guards. And although they are getting slightly better, they are still, in the last 15 games, a bottom 10 defensive teams against the point guard position. The data is a little bit stronger on this one for De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, it's a lower point total. He's covered this in 6 of his last 10 games. You stretch the data, it was last 29 of his last 20, 45% hit rate, not fantastic. But on the 2023 season as a whole, a 53% hit rate, 29 out of 55 games, he has cashed this over. These two teams did just play recently on January 14th in Milwaukee, and De'Aaron Fox had 32 points. Now they're going to be playing in Sacramento. Again, this is the second highest point total game. The line, the over-under, is 236. So the second highest point total for today's slate. They're predicting a lot of points here. Again, the pace of play for Sacramento is very fast. I think De'Aaron Fox should be able to score 28 points, no problem. I just don't think Damian Lillard can play defensively on him well enough to do. And again, he already cashed us once this year. He had 32 points the last time they played, and that was on the road in Milwaukee. And this time in Sacramento, I just don't think the Bucks have what it takes defensively to guard this. What would I bet this up to? Because a lot of people have been asking me to tell you guys that. I would bet it up to 28.5, which right now you can get on DraftKings for plus 100, FanDuel for minus 111. I'd go up to 28.5 if you're feeling ballsy. I wouldn't go too far up because, again, when he cashed this, he had 32. And that was a 142-143 game. So that was a high-scoring game. And yes, he did cash it, but only 32 points. He did have a pretty big game last week. I think he had like 44 points in one of the games I took him in a parlay last week. I would bet up to 28.5. I'm sticking with the 27.5 line personally. All right, got the third player prop that I want to share with you guys for today's slate. We're targeting the Timberwolves-Clippers game, which kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Rudy Gobert of the Minnesota Timberwolves under 16.5 points. Again, I told you guys in the beginning of the video, I'm not going to do too many alternate lines. The highest I'll probably do is minus 150, and this is where it is. Minus 150. I would put 1.5 units if you're like, where should I bet on this? If your units are $100, you bet $150 on this prop, you win $100. The same thing if your props are $10 props, you bet $15 on this and you'll win $10 is how it works. So I think it's worth it at minus 150, under 16.5 points. It's just a fantastic line. He's covered it in 8 of his last 10 games. You stretch that data to his last 20, 60% hit rate, 12 of his last 20 games. You look at the 2023 season as a whole, a 71% hit rate, 44 out of 62 games this season. He has cashed this under. So he's been a covering machine. You look at the head-to-head matchup here. 4 of his last 6 times he's faced off with the Los Angeles Clippers, he has cashed this under, including the last time they played on March 3rd, just very recently, he had 12 points. They played 3 times this year. He's cashed it in 2 out of 3. The one time he didn't was on February 12th. He did have 17 points, so he hit it by 1. He's been keeping this line pretty close to the chest here. You see here 15 points, so it's pretty close, but he typically cashes the under. And you look at versus the center position, the LA Clippers are the best defensive team in the NBA against centers, giving up just 16 points per game. Rudy Gobert, I always say he's not really a great offensive big man. And I think without Karl-Anthony Towns next to him, Naz Reid stepped up, and I think Naz Reid is one who will probably score more of the points down low. Rudy Gobert, not really an offensive mastermind. And you have this great defensive matchup. I think Rudy Gobert, under 16.5 point, is a pretty safe bet. Minus 150 odds, and a little bit higher, but you put in a parlay, you bet it straight out. Whatever you want to do with this, it's a great prop. All right, guys, got 2 more props to share before we dive into the parlay segment. Again, I know the videos are going to be longer, so bear with me. I will put timestamps down below so you guys will know what portion of the show is which. But comment Tasso down below, TASOS. Just comment my name down below if you made it this far into today's video. Apologies, the videos won't always be this long because obviously we had that long intro describing the show, but they will be longer than our typical parlay videos. But here we go. This is my 4th player prop that I'm sharing with you guys today. We're going with the Rockets-Spurs game. We're going with Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets under 9.5 rebounds plus assists. The data for this one is fantastic. And you look at the odds. It's available on almost every sportsbook you can get on DraftKings. Is the best one right now, minus 115. But it's available practically everywhere. The data is so strong on this one. He's covered this in 8 of his last 10 games. You stretch that data to his last 20, 15 of his last 20 games. It's a 75% hit rate. On the 2023 season as a whole, a 77% hit rate, 49 out of 64 games, he has cashed this under. And when you look at the head-to-head data, each of his last 7 times facing off with the San Antonio Spurs, he has cashed the under, 100% hit rate. This is such a fantastic prop and great value on it as well. He has faced off with San Antonio 3 times this year. He's cashed the under at all 3 times. The closest he got to covering was on October 27th. He had 5 rebounds and 4 assists. The other 2 games, he finished well below the mark. That's a ton of green on a prop that for minus 115 odds in DraftKings, and you can get it, again, if you're on FanDuel, minus 125. Really solid value for a prop with a lot of green. All right, guys, 5th and final player prop that I am sharing with you guys for today's slate. We're targeting the Celtics-Jazz game, which kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz under 23.5 points plus assists. Again, you can get this line at minus 115 on DraftKings. It is available on most sportsbook except for FanDuel, because FanDuel, if you've watched my videos, you know I don't think they're great for NBA player props. It's one of the worst sportsbooks for it, actually. But here we go. Jordan Clarkson, 7 of his last 10 games, he has cashed this under. You stretch that data to his last 20 games, 14 of his last 20. It's a 70% hit rate for Clarkson. On the 2023 season as a whole, the data isn't as impressive, but still pretty solid. 55% hit rate, 29 out of 53 games this year. He has cashed this under. You look at the head-to-head matchup. The one time the Jazz played the Celtics back on January 5th in Boston, he only had 2 points and 2 assists, and he played only 17 minutes, so they got blown out. He didn't play much. And he didn't really have that big of a game. But even if he plays his normal minutes, I'm not that scared. The Celtics overall, one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. You look right here. Top 5 in points allowed, top 5 in assists allowed. And versus the shooting guard position in particular, the best defensive team in terms of assists. They give up the fewest assists to opposing shooting guards, and they give up the 4th fewest points. I love this spot for the 5th and final prop of our prop slate. All right, guys, that is the end of our first segment. If it doesn't seem like we're as solid as normal, listen, it's the first day with his new format. Give us a couple days, and it'll feel more natural. But here we go. We're switching over to the parlay section now. Okay, here we go. This is the second segment of the show. This is where I have you guys my player prop parlay. Now, again, this will not be as long as our typical parlays are because some of the props that you're going to see in here, I've already given you a version of that already earlier in the video. So here we go. Got a 3-leg parlay to share with you guys for today that I'm really jazzed about. And yes, I just said the word jazzed. Sorry. All right, guys, let's go back into the outlier screen now. And here we go. First leg of our 3-leg parlay. We're targeting, again, the Pacers-Thunder game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but this time, instead of taking his 32.5-point line, we're going to buy some points down and take him at 29.5 points. Now, remember earlier in the video when I showed you his 32.5-point line, which I am taking for the straight bet section, you saw a lot of the games he was so close. When you buy this number down to 29.5, now it is at minus 220 odds on DraftKings. On PrizePicks, actually minus 119. So if you are, actually 240, on DraftKings. 220 on FanDuel, 285 on Caesars, and minus 119 on PrizePicks. So if you are on PrizePicks, this is not a bad one to throw in there. The data is significantly better. Remember when we showed you all the red and that 32.5-point line? At 29.5, 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. You stretch the data to his last 20, 15 of his last 20, 75% hit rate. On the 2023 season as a whole, a 75% hit rate, 47 out of 63 games. You slice 3 points off that line, and he just becomes an instant hitter when it comes to this line. Again, the data stays the same for the head-to-head. So we're going to include that in the first leg of our parlay, buy some points down, and yeah, we'll make this a very hittable bet. For the second leg of our parlay, I'm not going to go ahead and really give you guys more on this because it's literally the exact same one. I'm going to put that same Rudy Gobert under 16.5-point prop from earlier in the video. I'm going to throw it right in the parlay. I'm not going to change anything about it, mainly because there's really not much I can change about it, right? You can't go any lower. So I'm going to take it. Again, I love this prop. This is probably my favorite prop of the first 5 picks in the slate. I just think that Rudy Gobert is not going to score a lot of points against this Clippers defense. So that's the second leg of the 3-leg parlay. And for the third and final leg of this 3-leg parlay, we're going to go with John Collins of the Utah Jazz in the Celtics-Jazz game under 18.5 points. You look at the data for this one, he's covered this in 6 of his last 10 games. You stretch that data to his last 20, still 60% hit rate. 12 of his last 20 games, he's cashed this under of 18.5 points. This is an alternate line, by the way, at minus 180. It is a DraftKings exclusive. You look at the 2023 season as a whole, a 77% hit rate, 46 out of 60 games this year. He has cashed this under. And you look at the last time he played the Celtics back on January 5th, he only had 12 points. Again, like I said, the Celtics, top 5 team in the NBA defensively in terms of points allowed. And versus the power forward, they are the best defensive team in the NBA against opposing power forwards. Versus centers, they're not as bad. They're not as good, but not bad. 14th in the NBA, giving up 18.4 points per game. Whatever way you shake it out, wherever John Collins lines up, either at center or power forward, I don't think he's going to be able to score a ton on this Celtics defense. So that is the third and final leg for this parlay. All right, guys, there's our 3-leg ticket there. Real quick, Rudy Gobert under 16.5 points, John Collins under 18.5 points, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 29.5 points. You parlay all 3 of those legs together, you get a parlay of plus 267 odds. So, guys, that is it for me for today's video. That is our parlay. I hope you guys like this format. I know the video is a little bit longer. Not every video is going to be pushing 20 minutes. Again, that whole 5-minute intro really did make this video longer. Again, apologize if the video seems like I'm not really, in my natural flow. It is new. It is different. Give me a couple days to get used to the new format, and we will be running with fire behind us. Guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you very much. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button down below. I appreciate you guys. All the feedback you gave me on Friday, all the insight, all the criticism, everything you guys do for me. Love this channel. A ton of new content coming out very soon. College basketball content coming out this week for myself. A lot of great stuff, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Guys, until tomorrow, I hope we're all winners.